Welcome everyone to the African American Museum of Rhode Island Initiative. And I feel so...
No tears.
So a year and a half ago, thank you, honey. Is this clean? No. That's my husband. That's So over a year and a half ago, Juneteenth, my name is Helen Baskerville-Dukes, and I am the executive director of the Mount Hope Community Center and the president of the Juneteenth RI committee, and now a board member, a proud board member of the African American Museum of Rhode Island. A year and a half ago almost, the Juneteenth RI, we sponsor Black History walking tours. And we were just down there at Marketplace, just across the bridge, the Michael S. Van Leeson Memorial Bridge on the other side. And the facilitator noted that somewhere around there was a slave port. And I was like, wait, right here? And I said, well, where are the markers? Like, who's gonna know what happened to us and where it happened? So I said, fine, and we kind of talked. Then I said, where are the museums of the things that belong to us? So we left, and I said a few things to my husband, and I know he's exhausted with all the ideas, all the things I have going on. But there's another thing after this, but anyway. So over time, the museum thing kept coming up, and just I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to make sure our youth see themselves in the achievements that African Americans, as well as the African diaspora here, in themselves. So through that, I had met a few. I went to the Juneteenth RI committee, the board, and I said, hey, I think we should start an African American museum. And they were like, thumbs up, let's go. But I said, I'm not going to burden you because we're all busy. There are other people who are waiting to jump in and help and be a part of the things that we're doing in the community. So two of the people were Susan Pires and Wendy Wallace. They would always say, hey, what can I do to help? I pulled them aside, they said yes. And then there was Gloria, and then I had seen, before we really got started, was Tiara. She took a picture behind the Boston Museum in this beautiful desk. And I said, hey Tiara, this is what I'm planning. And I had already gone out and got the logo made and started with the 501c3 before we could even have a meeting, because I knew this was going to happen, even if I had to do it myself. Amen. Because I know how important it is to know who you are. I am Black, and Black means I'm a part of that African diaspora, but I'm also Native American. I'm a fair weather, but I'm also white. I have 20% white. My great-grandfather is white. But with all that being said, is our kids are out here killing themselves and they're dying, and they don't know who they are. Okay. They don't know that Marvin Barnes, who is this great athlete, could be their great uncle or a cousin. And they're a part of that line, that lineage, and that greatness is in them, but they need to know who they are. Coupled with workforce development. When people are working, they're not on the streets killing themselves. And then when they know who they are, they want to achieve better. So there's so many great things that a lot of us that are before me in the 20th century that have done things, and they're not being recognized. They're dying with their stories. We have street signs and memorial signs that are tattered and raggedy. And I lived on Camp Street since my daughter, she'll be 22, so 22 and a half years, 23 years, whatever. And there's a memorial sign there, and I just noticed it last year, William Dixie Matthews. But why is a sign there where people don't even know that it's there? Like, what sense does that make? So, before, I don't need to say anymore, because the other person who's going to come up a little ways after me are going to be able to talk about our initiative and talk about you, talk about us. and what we need to do to make sure we solidify the Black community, and that means the Latino community too, community as well too, because we need to work together to make some inroads in our community and be an economic force to be reckoned with here, because we need to have a say so. People depend on us for our votes. But we need to make sure that, I can even go further than that, that we're supporting each other, that we know how valuable we are as a people. We wake up with new ideas every day, but we need to see the value in ourselves. And every single person that looks like you, you're valuable. I tell people, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. I don't care what you are. And we need to see that, and we need to support that. Time is almost up, but I'm going to tell y'all before I step down, I love you. I love you. We see you. I think about you every single day, without a doubt. Without a doubt, my husband will tell you it drives him nuts, but I don't care. I see you too, baby. And I just, again, Mayor Smiley, thank you. Thank you for reaching out and wanting to show up. I appreciate that, because you are there. A lot of things that I do in the community, I don't even call you, you call me, and I appreciate that. And there's some things we need. I'm going to call you on that. You know already. All right. I'm sorry. So next I'm going to call up Robert L. Bailey the Fifth. Oh yeah, he was the first person I reached out to. I'm sorry, Robert.
Oh, wow. This is a little emotional for me and my family. First of all, I just want to say good afternoon to everyone, and thank you all for coming to this press conference that we announced this initiative for the African American Museum of Rhode Island. Mrs. Helen Baskerville-Dukes reached out to me and asked me what I thought about this idea and asked me to participate. Is this thing working?
Yeah, it's on.
So when Ma Dukes reaches out, it's a call to action. It's not an ask. So she'll call for action, and that's all I needed to hear. As you can see in this photo here, it's my great-great-grandparents. Robert L. Bailey Sr. from Greensboro, North Carolina, traveled to Rhode Island. And my great-great-grandmother, Amy Elizabeth Pinder Bailey, from Cambridge, Maryland. And they meet in Providence, and the rest is history. I just want to thank the board, the committee, for allowing us to use this photo and to use our family as the starting point of this initiative. We are truly grateful. We are truly honored, and the best is yet to come with this initiative. We're about to take this by storm.
Right.
We're about to take this Black history thing, this African American history thing, and this African diaspora thing by storm. Now, we're aware of the fact that there are some other institutions that are already in existence here that have been working on the same museum artifact project, but our niche is a little different. As Ma Dukes explained, identity, family. Yeah, we can peel back the layers and do some Black history stuff, so to speak. But when you connect this to families and their stories, and the impact that we've had as Black people in this state and in this city and the surrounding areas, it lends itself to some power, and that's what we're looking for here. We're going to empower and empower our children, our youth, and our families in this city and in this state like nobody's business. We're going to have our another speaker come up and really do a deeper dive into that. And he's been really helpful in empowering in this message. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Alicia Peter.
Hi, everybody. And thank you all for coming for this very important workforce development initiative. It is so much more than a museum. I'm going to do a piece to try to set the stage and bring arts, because art should be part of everything we do. And it is a way to talk about uncomfortable conversations in a more palatable way. And it is also another way to celebrate. So this piece is called Change is Gonna Come. I was born by the river in a little town, and oh, just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it is. Home is hard to define as a black kid in America. You see, our ancestors were reduced to forced farmhands, property approved and sanctioned for the white man's financial gain. 12.5 million Africans shipped here. No bubble wrap, newspaper clippings, food, or a pot to piss in. Handled inhumanely without care, dignity, respect, or compassion. No welcome mat laid out, just get to work, boy, and you get what I give you, nigga. Chattel slavery still exists today, in a different form, of course. Underfunded schools are the underground railroads, but in plain sight, pipeline to prison. Crack dropped in black and brown neighborhoods are the 1980s crop, still distracting, dividing, and decimating families. Redlining and blue shooting are continuously applied for whites-only dominance. Policies and Supreme Court justice decisions are skillfully crafted and cleverly implemented to keep us down, make us feel like we're in a hopeless loop, an endless nightmare. And yet, we rise. With a wear the 99, so don't leave the one behind mindset, we've educated ourselves to beat them at their own game, making grandmaster chess moves for community restoration. We encourage and inspire one another and be the food stamps for our own. The tent by the river resource, should one, two, or many need it. We celebrate each achievement as it's a collective movement forward. A that's all you got spirit is in our veins. It's our generational wealth, ancestral bled forever currency. So if diamonds are made by pressure, we are in good goddamn company. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it is. Thank you. It is my honor to call up Mayor Brett Smith.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Events like this, I'm usually here just to get my marching orders from Helen. And Bob, you're right, it's usually a call to action when she calls. Occasionally I get assignments and asks, but it's a call to action, and it is always for the community. It's always for her community, it's always for our community, and so the City of Providence is very excited about this initiative, and I know Mayor Grebian and Mayor De Silva have also been in contact about this initiative, and I hope, because there are obviously thriving Black families and much history beyond the City of Providence in Rhode Island, and this needs to be more than just me, but we're here for it, and we're here to support it and celebrate it. It is not lost on me that I grew up, I'm a 45-year-old white man, and I saw my history in school. I saw my history on television and in movies, and there is a generation of peers of mine who did not experience the same. And while we're trying to right those wrongs in the public school system and in media and in the rest, what, to your point, Bob, is different and unique about this is that there's a chance to tell those family stories, those multi-generational stories here in Rhode Island, and to make sure that, particularly exciting for me, that the young people in our community understand that they are part of that legacy of their greater family. It's Rhode Island, so almost everybody's cousins. But to understand both the moments of celebration and joy and celebration and excellence, but also duty and obligation that comes with being part of a legacy and of a long family tree. This is a really, really important initiative. The City of Providence is here to support it. I'm here personally to support it, and I'm looking forward to the planned first exhibit in the spring to start to tell those stories and to engage our community in this new way, in a way to lift up and celebrate and connect and root our young people, our families, to make sure that it's not just commemorative street signs that nobody knows the backstory of, but in fact really knows our history, our shared community's history, but told by the community itself about themselves. And so I'm so grateful to all the board members and the founding members who've answered this call, and know that in our part, the City of Providence will be here to support you. Thank you.
I think it's my turn. Oh, no, you can do that.
Wait a minute, Dr.
If we could ask Mayor Grebian to come up and please address the audience. Thank you. Please.
Those that know me know I prefer to be in the back. So thank you.
I think you're on.
Oh, I thought it was all about the seat. That was how
That's true.
But, you know, it was a long way from Pawtucket as I came here today. But, you know, and listening to some of the speakers before me and Mayor Smiley, while we all understand and we hear about the white privilege, myself, a little different story to share. So, born in Pawtucket, raised in Pawtucket, on the street. Mom and dad worked in factories, worked in trucks. Had my dad, God rest his soul, who was an alcoholic, and we went through a lot of disruption. So we have a lot of similar stories. So when I hear that white privilege, and as an elected leader, sometimes we get told, well, you know, you don't know what it's like to be, and that's true. But we have a lot of stories that are alike. And while we need to make sure that we're supporting one another, the hardest thing for me sometimes is I didn't grow up with any bias, and I mean that truly. And it's very hard for me to recognize the bias and the struggles that others have had because I've never seen that, or I never presented that myself. So I'm here to support the museum. I'm so here to support the organization and tell you that Pawtucket is committed to making a lot of the wrongs, the rights, working collectively on the council. And while we know it's not perfect, we're going to do that together. So thank you, and I appreciate you letting us speak.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Christopher West, and I'm the Executive Director of the African American Museum of Rhode Island. define museum and art institution very differently. We define it because it is not about curators sitting in a building, defining an object, and hoping the youth will come through and look at it. We define our institution by the community that is here. Rhode Island is a range of different African diaspora communities, the Afro-Caribbean community, the Verdian, the continent. And in that, there's a very specific story that we want to look at, 20th century. The migratory patterns of black folks into this region. A man who served, Matthews, athlete, and then became the mayor of Providence for black folk, because that person was the person he would go to. If you needed something done, he was the man you talked to. And now there's just a sign on a pole, 20 feet in the air, and a name. Well, I appreciate that effort of putting the name on, but the question is, how do we educate the youth that's on the school bus that's going past that sign and doesn't understand because they're on their cell phone what the connection is to them to that particular sign? And how we're going to do that is not by taking them to a museum. We're going to ask them to do the research for us.
Yes, yes.
We are going to give them the workforce development skills that they have to have. We want you to put together a digital package. I need you to hear me directly. When you're for the youth in this community, who's our constituent base? Those kids at Classical High School, those kids at Hope High School. That's our constituent base. If you want to know who we're working for, we are working past, because every time I walk past that school bus, I'm like, that's my constituent. That's my patron. That's my curator. That's my archivist. That's my conservationist. And if I do the work that I need to do, and if this institution does the work that it needs to do, that young person when they're 30 is going to recognize who they are in the world. When they move through the space of Rhode Island, they're going to feel and see themselves completely different. The emotion that you feel in this room is directly connected into Mama Dukes, and call her Mama Dukes because she earned that title.
Yes, she did.
I am here because Mama Dukes cried. Let me just be clear about that. I walked into a meeting, she started crying, I'm like, what do you need me to do? And I just kept going. I'm in this room because Robert Bailey said. I'm 5 generations here, nobody knows my family story. I am here because of Wendy Wallace, who said, Mimi, talk to me. I'm here because of Senator Mack, who sitting in a room told me a story about the jazz streetscapes that I had no idea of. Because when she did it, she was asking for a vote. And she asked people to support me. And in the process, they said, here's some stories you need to know. That's the African American Museum of Rhode Island in its nutshell. It's not complicated. For your children and for your grandchildren, you see our website. Support us. For your children and your grandchildren, make sure that they come by. For your children and your grandchildren, recognize that how we define the museum is going to be centered in getting you the skills, the creativity, the knowledge, and the intelligence that they need to be great. That is the African American Museum of Rhode Island. That's where we begin, and that's our story. Thank you for being here, but this is day 1. I need you here day 2. I need you here day 3.
Yes.
I need you here day 20. I need some money from y'all too.
Yes.
When you're an executive director, every time you get in front of a group, you better be asking for some papers. So as the executive director, I'm asking you because here's what I guarantee that you're going to get from this organization. We are not going to spend your dollars on overhead. We're not going to spend your dollars supporting something. We're not going to spend your dollars sending us to travel to some conference. You will know that the dollars that you give to the AAMRI are going to youth. You will know that the dollars that you give enough for supporting youth. You will know that the children who are acting wells are going to be lifted. You will know that we are creating a life for them. You will know what we do because the children and the babies will come and they will tell you what we have done for them. And then hold us accountable because we need you. Thank you. And this is day 1. I'm turning over to the board chair.
Sir.
Dr. West. I guess board members, listening to Dr. West and listening to everyone tell
We're all coming up.
their stories.
Yes.
It's important that we understand and everyone understands that our families, our history has left a footprint in this community. So we want our children to continue to leave footprints in this community. And not bad footprints, positive footprints. It's been book week this week, and a lot of authors who look like me and you have books on a list that's been over in several states over the country.
Not therapy fix.
So that's something also to think about. Let's all go out, I always say support these authors, go out and buy these banned books so that our kids can read these stories that I was able to read in high school. And when I was young, they should be able to read them too. You want me to introduce everybody?
You can just introduce, or you can just say our names.
Okay. We have Senator Tiara Mack. Gloria Cooley. Wendy Wallace. Susan Harris, for those who don't know me. I'm gonna call her Ma Dukes, but I always call her Helen. Helen. She was right down up the street from me for a long time. Robert Bailey, who's now I know his family has been here for years. But we all know the Bailey history. And now I'm going to read a statement from the board. So, as members of the board of the African American Museum of Rhode Island, we are honored to steward the preservation and celebration of African American history in our state. Our ties to Providence and the surrounding communities run deep, and these places have been instrumental in shaping our identity as Black people. The neighborhoods, schools, churches, and businesses that have thrived here are woven into the fabric of who we are, grounding us in a proud legacy that spans generations. Through this museum, we not only honor the rich cultural heritage and contributions of African Americans, but also recognize the profound role of our local communities have played in our stories. From the struggles of the past to the triumphs of the present, Providence and its surrounding areas have been central to our resilience, creativity, and growth. By learning from and sharing these histories, we hope to inspire future generations and ensure that the next chapter of our community's legacy is even more impactful. Together, we will continue to build a future where our children stand proud, knowing the strength of their roots. This is our history, and through this museum, it shall be our enduring legacy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I was just getting instructions from the Dukes here, as you all are. Thank you all so much for coming. We are so grateful, and I know personally for me, this just fills my heart knowing that you're all here to support. And with that, there are additional opportunities to support the African American Museum of Rhode Island. We have our website that's up, so there's a QR code located at the table in the back, as well as merch. We have membership opportunities, and if you're looking to volunteer, we are looking for volunteers as well. Again, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day, and feel free to network and mingle and just connect with each other, because again, it's about storytelling, it's about empowering each other, and we do that authentically when we have an opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Before you turn around and leave, can I have someone come up and take a picture from this way? Can you get your camera or something? I just need a picture from this way. Do not leave. Dr. West, come on, where are you? The Executive Director of the African American Museum of Rhode Island.
And then take a picture of that one. So please don't leave, everyone.
3, 2, 1. More.
Ooh, look at this pet cat.
Excuse me.
It's
Best buds like that. My city's doing better than yours.
There are two other projects that are beyond the camp stories that I want to remind you of and also to point out to you. The migratory pattern of African Americans also was black women serving as nurses, getting their education primarily in the American South and then migrating to the Providence region. Those women, and we have a number of them who have reached a moment in their life in which they're no longer giving service, but their words can provide that. What we want to do is called African American Women Migratory Patterns, which is we're looking at nurses who worked and served in this community from the 1950s to the 1980s. Most of them, retirement, assisted living, somebody supporting them. But know the stories that they did over the years, how they got here, how they supported those stories. It's another way that we feel it's important to be able to say a story, to share. So if you had a mother or a grandmother or an aunt who served as a nurse in Providence, please make sure to get in contact with us. We're also looking for stories of sheroes and heroes as well. We lost recently one of the last Tuskegee Airmen. We can't wait. We can't wait. We can't wait because if we don't tell these stories, they're simply going to transition and go away. So when we're asking you for support, we're not just simply asking you for money, we're asking you, we need the stories. Because those stories help us to tell the youth the stories so they can move forward. I hope that makes sense to you. Thank you.